Kentucky's Governor Matt Bevin is making national headlines over an interview he gave to a Bowling Green radio station about chickenpox vaccinations.
His comments about choosing to expose his 9 children to the virus were in reference to a northern Kentucky teen who sued his local health department. It had temporarily barred students who were not immunized against chickenpox from attending school after an outbreak at a Catholic school there. LEX 18's Claire Kopsky explains.
So they start out as little red spots, and then over 5 days you're covered with them, and they've gone from red spots to little blisters to most of the time kids are scratching so much, and that's where the infection comes in.
Sounds gross, right? Well, even though the vaccination for the chickenpox has been around since 1995, there are still parents who don't believe in it and are having pox parties, including the governor. Earlier this week, he explained when he and his wife found out their neighbor had the virus, they intentionally took their 9 kids over for a visit to ensure they were exposed.
Every single one of my kids had the chickenpox. They got the chickenpox on purpose because we found a neighbor that had it, and I went and made sure every one of my kids was exposed to it, and they got it. They had it as children. They were miserable for a few days. And they all turned out fine.
But we don't even advise that because the risk of chickenpox causing major problems, mainly infection, because if you think about it, if you have, and kids can sometimes have upwards of 100 to 200 lesions all over their body or more, then you end up with infectious risk with things like MRSA, Group A strep, things that can be devastating, losing parts of our bodies because of those kind of infections.
Today, it's not just the medical community speaking up. The governor made headlines on NBC News, The Today Show, CNN, and The Hill this morning. And former congressional candidate Amy McGrath tweeted saying in addition to pox parties, she suspects the governor would probably like us all to go back to using horse and buggies as well.
From experience of having lived in the time prior to the vaccine and having family members who didn't have chickenpox when they were young and then getting it when they were an adult, you're miserable, and it is incredibly more painful and uncomfortable to acquire it as an adult or a teenager.
Prior to the vaccine, the CDC estimates between 8,000 to 18,000 people were hospitalized each year, with up to 150 dying every year.
Well, the whole reason for the vaccine was to protect children from chickenpox.
Covering the news, Claire Kopsky, LEX 18 News.
The governor's running mate for the 2020 election, State Senator and Dr. Ralph Alvarado, penned an op-ed in the Cincinnati Enquirer back in 2015, writing that he believes one of the most important government responsibilities is to require proper immunizations. A different tune than the governor's this week, and he said the governor should not mandate the chickenpox vaccine.